Right now, on to the point. Trump's tariff fallout.
Donald Trump's tariffs do not represent all Americans.
Governor Newsom pushing back tonight, asking nations to exempt California products.
How will President Trump's tariffs impact the almond crop here in California? We speak with the local grower who shares with us his long-term concerns.
Plus, Sacramento County Health faces a multi-million-dollar funding cut. The programs that could be impacted. Sacramento leaders are proposing solutions to combat the rise in mail theft, how you can get involved. And later, a small community pushing back over an affordable housing plan, why there are concerns and how the county is responding. Thank you for ending your week with us on To The Point. I'm Becca Habiger in for Alex Bell. More fallout tonight from President Donald Trump's latest tariff plans. As you've likely seen, the stock market is strongly reacting. The Dow Jones fell more than 1,000 points at the open and lost more than 2,000 points throughout the day. That's the steepest drop in the stock market since the early days of COVID-19. The tariffs are also triggering trillions of dollars in losses in retirement accounts and corporate bottom lines. And today, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled these broad-based tariffs could raise inflation.
It is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
Trump spent some time on social media today pressuring the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, accusing Powell of, quote, playing politics. The administration is adamant, though, the pain of the tariffs will be temporary and worth it. In response to Trump's tariffs, Governor Gavin Newsom is urging international trade partners to exclude California-made products from any retaliatory tariffs. As ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shows us, the new tariffs are already hurting local almond growers. Jeannie shares their concerns and whether the state is even allowed to be exempt from tariffs. Jeannie?
Becca, experts I spoke with today say it's going to be difficult for California to not be included in these tariffs, but it's worth a try. All while a local almond grower says he is preparing for the worst.
We purchased this farm in 1980, so we are coming up on our 45th anniversary of growing organic walnuts.
But last year, Craig McNamara decided it was time to start growing almonds on his property, Sierra Orchards. With the announcement of tariffs this week from President Donald Trump, McNamara says he is worried about the future of his business.
We don't want tariffs that create trade wars that impact our businesses, and yet we've seen that historically.
These almond trees here at Sierra Orchards in Winters are still a few years out from being harvested. And with these tariffs, the concern is that it will hurt almond growers more than benefiting them.
The industry of almonds used to sell a lot of almonds to China. That's changed now because of imbalance in trade and tariffs that have gone back and forth. So I worry about the sustainability for our two adult children who are integral to this farming operation.
On Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom announced he is attempting to exclude California from retaliatory tariffs imposed by other countries.
I'll remind all our international trading partners, California is a stable trading partner, and we hope you consider that as it relates to California-made products.
Agricultural economics experts at UC Davis say that's easier said than done.
Obviously, we can't set our own trade policy. The tariffs that the U.S. sets, California is obviously subject to.
They say countries like China may not see the benefit in excluding California from these tariffs.
These countries need some leverage to work against President Trump. And Governor Newsom is asking them to reduce their leverage. I'm not sure why they would do that.
Leaving growers like McNamara wondering what's going to happen to his business.
California grows 80+% of all the world's almonds, and we export about 85% of the almonds to nations around the world. So that's a very, very significant business.
In a statement to ABC 10, the Almond Board of California says it's closely monitoring the impacts of the tariffs and needs time to evaluate. But China has already imposed a 34% tariff on all imports from the U.S., making the combined current tariff for raw almonds from California 69%. Becca.
Jeannie, thanks. The Sacramento County Department of Health Services could lose about $26 million due to a nationwide order to rescind Health and Human Services funding from states. The money, first appropriated by Congress during the COVID pandemic, has been used by Sacramento County to fund 3 areas: addressing health disparities for communities disproportionately affected by chronic diseases, updating epidemiology infrastructure, and providing mobile vaccination clinics. Sacramento County's public health officer says the county received notification of the cuts on March 24th, and since then, all work related to that grant funding has stopped. Now health officials are scrambling for answers.
We work hard to ensure that our entire community is safe, and we will do the best we can. We will always continue to do the best we can, but we do need for the support, the financial support, to be able to make sure that our communities are safe.
And California joined 22 other states and the District of Columbia in a lawsuit to stop the HHS from terminating more than $11 billion altogether in grants. A federal judge announced she plans to issue a temporary order to prevent the cuts from being made while the case is heard. In response to challenges facing the federal workforce, California is launching a new initiative aimed at helping displaced federal workers find new opportunities with the state. The California Department of Human Resources unveiled a new website as part of its Work for California campaign. The site offers resources to streamline the state application process and connect federal workers with state jobs like firefighting, weather forecasting, natural resource management, medical services, and more. Well, as we've been reporting for months, mail theft has been a major issue across Northern California. This video shows people taking mail from cluster mailboxes in Sacramento's Natomas neighborhood. We told you last week an audit found major issues at the U.S. Postal Service, and now ABC 10's Devin Truby is learning more about solutions local leaders are calling for.
The North Natomas community coming together to address mail theft after an audit of the USPS revealed that many cluster boxes like this had their keys lost or they weren't being properly tracked, and maintenance for these overall cluster boxes was not being upkept.
Serious deficiencies have been uncovered in a new audit from the U.S. Postal Service Inspector General. The audit focused on 3 postal facilities in Sacramento County: Sacramento's main post office on Royal Oaks Drive, Fort Sutter Station on Alhambra Boulevard, and Rancho Cordova Post Office on Progress Court.
Epidemic proportions in the last few years.
Congressman Ami Bera called for the audit and plans to share it with the rest of Congress to apply more pressure to the Postal Service for new mailboxes. Bera is asking residents to report all mail theft. He says the more reports the post office receives, the higher Sacramento moves up on the priority list for new mailboxes.
Let's go to digital mailbox locks. So it's not actually a master key, or you could quickly change that code and that lock. That's more efficient, a lot safer.
Sacramento City Council member Lisa Kaplan is calling for a new District 2 area manager for the Postal Service. In Natomas, one resident has taken it upon himself to track mail theft for his community. Michael Mashburn, who provided data for the audit, too.
It's more than doubles every year. We had more than 1,000 last year.
Mashburn says they have private security who checks mailboxes, and each day they report any theft or damage. She's been tracking the data since 2020. He says the biggest change is thieves now use keys they've made by stealing the locks from the box once they force them open.
We're only seeing about 2% of them being forced open, and it's blatant. They drive up, they take a key out of their pocket, they open it up. So those keys are out there.
The audit reveals keys to cluster mailboxes were one of the major issues. At Royal Oaks Post Office, 35% of keys were missing, impacting 8 zip codes. 21% missing from Fort Sutter for 3 zip codes, and 3% missing from Rancho Cordova for 1 zip code.
And the Natomas neighborhoods have taken it upon themselves to post these mail theft tips on the side of every single cluster box. But one of the best ways to protect yourself is to sign up for informed delivery. USPS will send you a photo every day of what's supposed to be in your mailbox so you can see if anything has been stolen. The Postal Service has until July to make the recommended changes in the audit. Reporting in North Natomas, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Still ahead on To the Point, why neighbors in a small Placer County community are outraged over an affordable housing plan.
And a nice weekend ahead, middle 70s both Saturday and Sunday. There's a chance to rain in the forecast, though, and we'll talk about that after the break.
And later on the back roads, where you can check out one of California's last vernal pools. Welcome back. It's the beginning of the end for the Modesto Nuts. Tonight is the team's final home opener. The Single-A affiliate of the Seattle Mariners is being sold after this season and moving to Southern California, ending nearly 8 decades of baseball history in Modesto. Meteorologist Brendan Minchef joins us now. Brendan, sad for the Modesto Nuts,
Yeah.
sad for the community, but at least we've got one more season with them, and you've got
Yep.
their forecast tonight.
Yeah, one more season,
One
right?
more,
So
yes.
we'll enjoy it while it's here. Forecast for weather, not for the season as a whole. Hopefully it's a good season for the Nuts, but forecast going through this evening. We're in the upper 60s, low 70s right now, down in Modesto, 65. By the time we get towards about 8 o'clock, maybe a few clouds out there towards the end of the game, but otherwise, a very nice weather forecast here for the final home opener for the Modesto Nuts. Observed high temperatures today. We were in the 70s, mid-70s at that, a little warmer than I expected us to get to today. 75 Sacramento, 73 Vacaville and Fairfield, 74 Stockton, 73 Modesto, 74 in Marysville, 63 Placerville, 45 in Truckee, 43 in South Lake Tahoe. It was a nice day out there. Right now, we are in the low 70s across much of the region, 40s up in the high country. Waking up on Saturday morning, if you're waking up early, hopefully you get to sleep in. It's the weekend, of course, but if you are out and about early, we're going to be in those low to mid 40s, a little bit cooler than the average low for the time of year, with a few clouds out there to start the weekend. Mostly sunny tomorrow, very seasonal as well, if not a little warmer than seasonal. We'll be back in those mid 70s across much of Northern California. 60s though in the foothills, 50s up in the high country. Saturday's looking very nice. Sunday's basically going to be a repeat with a few more clouds. But then late Sunday into Monday morning, we are going to have a chance of rain. So we'll see that here on Futurecast. Some clouds coming in overnight tonight, but again, mostly sunny skies are expected tomorrow, certainly through the afternoon. Then more clouds through Sunday. Again, a little more clouds on Sunday than what we'll see tomorrow. And then there's that system. Again, this is 11 o'clock Sunday, so it's a late system that comes in. It's going to bring us some rain overnight Sunday into Monday, but should be done by the time most of us are waking up on Monday morning. 70s for the foreseeable future, maybe some low 80s by midweek. Regardless, it's going to be a very pleasant week. Becca?
Brendan, thank you so much. Well, next on To the Point, affordable housing concerns. Neighbors in one Placer County community are pushing back over a new plan, how the county and developers are responding. Plus, changes are coming to how you pay for parking in downtown Sacramento, the new tool the city is rolling out. A small town in Placer County is pushing back as neighbors voice strong opposition to a proposed affordable housing project. The town of Penryn, which has a population of about 1,000 people, says this is not an issue of not my backyard. ABC 10's Garjpal Sangha explains their concerns and what the county and developers are saying.
The town of Penryn along Interstate 80 might be small, but their voices together are big.
Thank you very much for showing up.
In a packed town hall at a Buddhist church, the town was in attendance voicing their concerns about a project they say is too big.
It's just too many residents in one small area.
Penryn is willing to do its fair share, but it's about density.
The project that has residents upset is the Hope Way Apartments, a proposed affordable housing complex with 240 units. Right now, the location near Penryn Road and Interstate 80 remains undeveloped. But for Penryn residents, the project would be a significant change.
The state needs affordable housing, but this is not an issue of no money, or this is an issue of bad management.
Brian Meyer says traffic, schools, and how fire will respond have not been addressed yet. A Placer County environmental questionnaire shows the proposed project is expected to bring 624 new residents into town. But people at the town hall say it will bring more than 1,300.
They underestimated it because that makes a difference on the water, the sewer, the traffic. When you lower your numbers like that, it changes the outcome of all those studies.
Placer County does have low-income housing, but a report shows it's about 1,200 units short of what the state requires. The state has turned up the pressure on counties and cities to build more affordable housing. Last year, Attorney General Rob Bonta settled his lawsuit against the city of Elk Grove after leaders there initially denied an affordable housing project. People here say they're okay with building their share of affordable housing, but feel like the county is placing extra burden on them.
Penryn is 0.002% of the county population, and yet we're getting 20% of the affordable housing. That's not appropriate. That's not fair to the people coming here or to us.
Placer County tells ABC 10 county executive staff did attend the town hall and in a statement said in part, quote, "We know the community has questions and concerns. We are here to listen as we continue our careful review of this project." The developer, Roseville-based U.S. Properties Funds, tells ABC 10 the county will hold a public meeting once all the project information is complete, and U.S. Properties Fund will participate in that meeting.
We need to be organized.
Residents say they will not back down.
60 is a more reasonable number than 1,300.
Garch Paul Sunga, ABC 10.
The county says the proposed project is going through design and environmental reviews. Once those are done, they will allow the public to comment at a county-led town hall and planning commission meeting. Well, Folsom is experiencing rapid growth. Streaming now on the ABC 10 Plus TV app, the To The Point team looks at the benefits and challenges that brings. The city's Folsom Ranch development is creating thousands of new homes in the area, impacting schools, traffic, and infrastructure. Just look for Folsom Growth on the homepage of the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app, available to download on your TV. The city of Sacramento is making security changes to its parking meter system. Officials say this is in response to ongoing vandalism. The Department of Public Works announced it's in the process of replacing single-space meters with more durable pay stations. Coin payment options will also be removed from those single-space meters, but coins will still be accepted at pay stations and parking garages. These upgrades are already in areas around Southside Park and along our street. Well, it's time for another trip on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel takes us to the wetlands of Sacramento to see the life that is thriving in a very rare body of water.
It's field trip day, and a busload of Sacramento County students are making their way into a wet, grassy field just outside of Mather Airport.
If I see a spider, I'm throwing it at it. Yes, it's in there.
With seemingly nothing to look at in this empty field, these elementary kids are immediately drawn to what looks like, well, a giant puddle.
What is going on here?
So we have a class of 5th graders out here, and they're about to see all of the life that lives in the vernal pools.
If you're unfamiliar with vernal pools, it's not surprising because there's not a whole lot of them.
These are the last remaining contiguous vernal pools in the Central Valley, and there's only about 7% of vernal pools left in the state of California.
Mackenzie Weiser is CEO of Sacramento Splash, an environmental education nonprofit that brings kids out on science field trips to teach them about Sacramento's watershed and vernal pools.
What are you guys finding in there?
A bunch of little sea shrimps, the little green circles.
Huh.
Much like a puddle, the vernal pools are formed by runoff from winter rains. The only difference is that rain triggers billions of tiny eggs or cysts in the soil to hatch as the vernal pools fill up.
I don't know. I'm sort of afraid to even get close to there. I mean, could these things like attack or give me some sort of disease or?
No.
No.
No disease, no attack, none of that.
Okay, all right. So
in fact, you want to see these in your water.
Mackenzie says vernal pools are at the bottom of the food chain. Not only do these critters in the water feed birds and other wildlife, but vernal pools also show how clean the watershed is, kind of like a canary in a coal mine.
How is it clean and thriving if there's a bunch of these little bug things in here?
Because if they can survive and live in that water, then that water is clean and thriving for us.
Before the vernal pools dry up in the summer, the critters lay eggs or cysts in the soil, but those eggs can't hatch the next winter if polluted water from city streets or farmers' fields contaminate the vernal pools. They also can't hatch in a construction site.
Vernal pools are disappearing because California is impacted and we need to develop. There's a shortage of homes and we're developing right over them.
Unfortunately, open spaces where vernal pools form are often perfect places for development.
Yeah, it's kind of yellow and it has something on the back.
Okay.
Mackenzie says just 7% of California's historic vernal pools are left, and that's why Sacramento Splash is trying to educate the next generation of Californians about keeping wetlands clean and free of development.
So they're learning in their hands and they're connecting to it. So it's actually going to stick and mean something to them.
From the vernal pools in Sacramento, I'm John Bartel.
We'll see you on the back roads!
Well, you can find more Bartel's Backroads destinations on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. They are all under the show's tab. Scroll down to Travel, Bartel's Backroads. Download the free app to your TV. Stay with us. We're back after a short break. Concerts in the Park is returning to downtown Sacramento this summer with new dates and a revamped schedule. The free concert series will kick off May 2nd and run for 9 weeks instead of the previous 12. Gates will also now open at 6 p.m. with performances wrapping up by 9:30. Now, some of this year's headliners include hip-hop star Exhibit, indie rock duo Fantagram, and singer-songwriter Jackie Green. You can find more headliners on our website, abc10.com. Well, thanks so much for watching and inviting us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, please reach out to the team. You can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And To The Point doesn't end here. To watch stories featured on the show, download our free ABC 10 Plus streaming app to your TV. Have a great and safe weekend.